Okay, I have a controversial viewpoint. I think audio is more important than your cinematography, especially when it comes to YouTube videos. And to prove that, I'm going to show to you 2 clips. And I want you to comment in the comment section down below, which clip do you guys prefer? This is clip number 1. Let me know down in the comment section if you prefer this clip. And this is clip number 2. Let me know down in the comment section if you prefer this clip. Now, if you didn't already guess, those 2 clips were kind of opposite. The first clip had really nice composition with the cinematography, but the audio was trash. And the second clip had a less than flattering angle of my face, to be fair, but the audio was really good. If I had to guess, you probably preferred the audio that was really good, but the cinematography was bad. And that makes a lot of sense when you consider that cinematography is not very natural to the eye. We don't line up our shots perfectly with the perfect lighting and get exactly what we want. But audio, it is designed to be very natural. We add in background noises and we make sure things sound very natural, sometimes even panning from the right to the left in order to give the idea of motion in the screen. When the audio isn't as good, then we definitely take notice a lot more than if the video isn't quite perfect, because it's not really natural anyways. All that to say is audio is crucial to having good quality production in your YouTube videos, but don't worry, because I'm going to teach you everything you need to know in order to get good quality audio. And stick around to the end, because I'm going to show you how to never get distortion again in your audio, even without 32-bit flow. But first, we need to talk about what kind of microphone you're going to be using. Now, the 2 mics you're going to come in contact with the most is a boom mic or shotgun mic, like this Rode Video Mic Pro Plus, the one I use almost in all of my videos, and this one, the Rode Wireless Go 2. This is a lavalier microphone. These are going to be the 2 most common microphones, and let's kind of dive into that. So we switched audio over to a little lavalier microphone here, and you might have heard that the audio quality isn't as rich. That's because it's a small condenser microphone. Unlike our boom microphone, which is a much larger, more sensitive, this one isn't as sensitive, so you're not going to hear the richness in my voice. It's still going to sound really good, but it's not going to sound as good as the boom microphone. By the way, did you know the fluffy thing on the end of this is called a dead cat? So the next time you're hanging out with your friends, you can say you have a dead cat in your bag, and then when they get really grossed out, you just pull out this little fluff ball and explain to them that filmmakers have a really sick, twisted sense of humor. The cool thing about this is that you can attach a capsule to this and have an invisible look with the microphone hidden underneath your shirt. Now, when you hide it there, you need to consider mic position. The best place for this microphone to be is around the solar plexus area. You can see that's where I got my microphone. If you want to clip it to the inside of a shirt, maybe you want to tape it directly to your chest or in between a bra, those are excellent places to put the microphone so that you're going to get a really nice, rich sound out of the voice. Now, be warned, if you're going to go for the invisible look, make sure you monitor it, because you're prone to get some scratches in the microphone capsule, and that's not going to sound very good. So make sure you move around and do some tests, monitoring the audio to make sure you have good audio. Now, the really cool thing about this microphone is that it's wireless. I don't have to shout and I don't have to scream at you when I'm really far away. In fact, I keep my voice at the exact same level and the audio is perfect. Now, part of the reason why we get such smooth and clear audio is not just because it's attached to me, it also has to do with the pickup pattern. Every microphone has a pickup pattern, and this one in particular has what's called an omnidirectional pickup pattern, meaning that it's going to pick up sounds from all around it. Think of a sphere around the top of this microphone. Anything in that sphere is going to get picked up from all directions, which means it's not going to have any off-axis rejection. Unlike our next microphone, now I switched over to my Rode Video Mic Pro Plus. It's on top of my camera, and you might have heard a bit of difference in audio quality, but you can probably also hear something else. A lot more ambient noise. This microphone is going to pick up a lot more of the environment than the lavalier did, so it's important to know that when choosing the best option. And one of the reasons is because usually this microphone is on top of a camera or on a boom pole 10, 15, sometimes 20 feet away from the talent. It needs to be extra sensitive in order to pick up that voice, but with being more sensitive means it's going to pick up more of the surrounding areas to it. So that is something to consider when choosing a microphone. Now, because this microphone is extra sensitive, the boom microphone actually has a really cool trick, and it has to do with the pickup pattern. Unlike the lavalier microphone, which has an omnidirectional pickup pattern, this has what's called a cardioid pickup pattern. So you can sort of imagine a heart shape around this microphone, where most of the sound is going to come out from the tip, but most of the sides are going to be rejected. You can actually hear this if I begin to spin the microphone around. you should hear my voice being rejected on the off axis. And as we turn it all the way around, you should hear my voice getting a little bit more clear as it finally comes back to where it's supposed to go. That means it's really important to point this microphone directly at your mouth or the chin of your subject, which if you're doing a vlog style really shouldn't matter too much because it's always on top of the camera and the camera is usually pointing at some sort of selfie towards you. But if you are doing it at the talent, it is really important to point at that chin, point at that mouth. That's the source, that's the deep bridge sound we're looking for. However, even though this does have some off-axis rejection, it doesn't do a perfect job. Now, if we find ourselves in a loud situation like this, it might be best to not use the boom microphone. It might be best to switch to the lav. Now, you might have heard a significant decrease in the environmental noise. That's because this is a lot less sensitive microphone and it's attached directly to me. So you're not hearing as much construction or cars or people screaming as you did with the boom microphone. That's why you might want to choose a lavalier over a boom microphone. But it's not just construction and noisy traffic. Sometimes it could be your furnace or AC units. If you have to shoot an environment where it's noisy, then try to use something like a sound blanket and utilize that off-axis rejection of your microphone in order to get the best quality possible. Okay, now gets to a bit of the boring part. I need to tell you how to technically set up your audio so that you get the best quality for it. And it starts with frame rate. Now, if you're filming for YouTube and your microphone is attached directly to your camera, you probably don't have to worry about this too much. But it's still a good idea to make sure it's checked off. Your microphone should be connected to the exact same frame rate as your camera. In my previous videos, I've talked about frame rate and how to set up your camera to look like Hollywood. The TLDR is you should be setting up your camera to shoot at 24 frames a second. That means that you're gonna take 24 still images and flash them in front of your face every second. Make sure your mic is set up to the same frame rate as your camera. Otherwise, you're gonna have some syncing issues in post and then you're gonna have to go back and fix them and it becomes very, very annoying. The next thing we have to talk about is our sample and bit depth. And you know what, let me just show you. So this is our audio on a graph. This axis represents how loud the signal is. And this axis represents how long the audio signal is. Now, audio is an analog source. However, we're capturing it on digital things, such as your digital camera or your digital recorder. So we need to set parameters for the digital recorders to capture the analog properly. And the first thing we have to talk about is bit depth. That's how loud the audio signal is. Distortion looks like that. It's gonna cut off the tops of our audio signal, so we need to make sure that our bit depth is high enough so we don't get distortion. However, the bit depth also can't be so loud and so high that the files become unmanageable. This is standard for recording audio. 24 bits gets it loud enough so that we can capture really good audio without distorting it and at the same time have enough headroom in post to use it properly. However, it's not so large that the files become completely unusable. So I'm gonna recommend you to pick 24 bits as your bit depth. Okay, so we have our bit depth. Now we need to actually capture the audio, and that's called a sample rate. In order to capture an analog signal, we have to take snapshots of the analog signal at specific parts. The more snapshots we have, the more detailed and lifelike the audio will be. Look at the difference between my first graph and my second graph over here. This first example doesn't have a lot of snapshots. Those 4 squares will not give us an accurate representation of what the audio is. Looking over at the second example, it's gonna give us a far more accurate depiction of the audio because we have more information to draw from. Now, it's standard for us to use 48 kilohertz when capturing, or 48,000 samples per second. And I'm not drawing 48,000 squares on that board, okay? Just imagine that there's 48,000. Okay, so we picked the right microphone, we picked the right location, and we even set up the microphone correctly. Now, the last thing we need to do is meter the microphone and ensure that it doesn't distort. We don't want that to happen in our signal because we want to have high quality audio. So in order to monitor the audio, we use audio meters. Now, the meter goes all the way up to 0, and 0 means distortion, so you don't want to bring it up that high. My recommendation is having the meter between -6 and -12 decibels. -12 at your lowest and -6 at your highest. It's loud enough so that in post you can still use the audio and put the effects on it and it's still usable, but it's not so loud that it's very easily distorted. You're still 6 decibels away from distorting, and you should for the most part be pretty safe with it. However, as promised, I am going to give you one secret tip that every pro uses in order to get perfect audio with 0 distortion on it, and that's recording a safety channel. Usually we only have a mono dialogue channel. So in your camera, you can actually set up one of the channels to be 10 decibels lower than the other channel. If something happens, a loud noise happens, a car crash, something happens really loud to distort the first track, you have that second track to choose from in post, so you can save the clip and never have to worry about a distorted track ever again. So armed with this knowledge, you have everything you need in order to crank your YouTube productions up to 10 with the audio quality alone. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about next in the comment section, and take it easy, bud.